Welcome, everybody, to a brand new action-packed edition of the Hardcore Podcast. I am, as always, the Hardcore Kid, and with me, the infamous, the man, the myth, the legend, Otaku Nate.
Was that my cue?
Yes, that was your cue.
I'm sorry, I'm a little woozy because I just can't get over. I'm sorry. I'm watching the Devils game right now.
How are they doing?
Right now they're up 2-1 against the Ottawa Senators. Oh no, they're down by 1 against the Senators. But so far we're off to a good start.
Oh, great. We were supposed to go to a Devils game last week, but we didn't have the time for it.
No, he didn't have the money. He's lying.
Or the money. No big deal. They got their ass kicked anyway, so. But enough of that, because, ladies and gentlemen, at long last, Robot Wars, the 10th Wars, has arrived. We've waited a long time, and how long's it been? 6 months or so?
I'd say about 6 months. So,
yeah.
When was the last episode? In April? March?
I think so, because I think it was definitely during, I think it started in March, went on to April, I believe, so.
Yes.
Yeah, good 6, 8, 7 months or something, so yeah, quite a while, but, so Series 10 is back, and a lot of interesting new features for this series. There's now a new format.
Actually,
they got rid of the round robin format, and now we have some kind of weird double elimination format. What's that all about, Nate?
Well, basically what happens is that there are 2 3-way melees to start off the show, and there's one winner in those 2 fights. The 2 losers are then split off into a redemption bracket where you have 2 single elimination matches, and the 2 winners in those matches will go on to fight the 2 winners of the first melees in one-on-one battles. The 2 losers in those battles will then play off for 3rd place in the heat, more on that later, while the 2 winners will play in the heat final. So, Brandon, I know you have a lot to say about double eliminations, and I'll let you have the floor on this one.
This is interesting. It's really confusing, and I really need to see how it goes, but I understand what they're trying to go with, because here in the U.S., about 90% of all robot events over here are double elimination. So if you lose one match, they put you in a loser's bracket, and you can keep going and going and going until eventually you make it to the grand final, and then you fight the winner of the winner's bracket. And it's simple. This format, it kind of reminds me of when I was doing wrestling, and I was in a regional tournament. And basically what happened was I lost my first match, but then I was put into a loser's bracket, and the people in that bracket would keep going and going and going until they got 3rd place, and they could move on to the national. So it's kind of how they're trying to do it here. And then, of course, the heat finalist and the person who takes 3rd, they get put into a 10 robot wild card battle royal to decide who gets the final place in the grand final, or as I like to refer it as, the 10 robot wild card clusterfuck, because that's really all I can think of it when I think of it. What do you think, Nate?
I personally am all in favor of a double elimination format. I mean, admittedly, the way it's executed is a bit strange because, even if you lose, you can still win, but if you lose again, you can still win, that kind of thing, with the whole 3rd place position. But that being said, what I like the most about the double elimination format is that it gives robots who may have failed in the first round, either just by mechanically or dying in one hit, a chance to show what they're made of.
Sure.
Because we had way too many examples of that in the 9th Wars. We had Tauron, we had Worm, we had, who's the other one? Miss Nightshade is another example, although...
Chimera 2.
Chimera 2 is another example. Foxic was a victim of the single elimination melee.
Alas, Foxic is not in this series, but his big brother Apex is, so we get to see more Craig Danby! Woohoo!
Yay! And so yeah, there was no bullshit of just a single elimination first round melee. As much as I may have liked the round robin format, it really wore out its welcome halfway through Series 9.
Yeah, and a lot of it, and there were certainly occasions where a robot wouldn't have enough points to go through the grand final, and they still had to fight anyway. Take, for example, Eruption. They lost both their first 2 round robin matches, but they still had to fight Apollo anyway, and they won, but they still got eliminated. So obviously the round robin problem had issues, and especially since there could be robots who were so badly damaged they couldn't continue, but they still let them continue. So yeah, I look forward to seeing how this double elimination format works. Now, in regards to the arena, it's mostly the same as it was in the last 2 series, but now they've added a new hazard called the Fog of War, which basically is, you know how you press the pit release tire over by the driver's area, and it activates either the pit or the Rogue House robot. This time, it has a third feature where this loud foghorn goes off, and then these cannons shoot, like, generated fog right out across the arena, and it's meant to, like, blind the competitors.
It's the same steam jets they use for the competitor intros.
Yeah, I'm not really too big on this thing. It really sounds like it might be the worst hazard of all time, and Robot Wars has had some pretty shitty hazards in the past, like the floor spinner or those little spikes that popped out of the sides of the arena. But
worse than the grills.
Oh, the grills! Don't even remind me of the grills. But
worse than the Sentinel.
You know what? The Sentinel, it was an interesting hazard, but yeah, I'm not too big on the Fog of War. And as far as any other changes, Dead Metal has a camera on his claw now. I guess to get a good angle of him slicing into robots, which kind of looks kind of stupid. Matilda has a new paint job. She got
frosted tips.
She got frosted tips all over her body, and I also heard she now has a camera on her ass. So I don't know, but we'll see how that goes. Any other changes? Oh yes, there's now only 30 robots instead of 40. So
it's quantity over quality. No, quality over quantity. Excuse me.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems a little unfair, but hopefully the show does get renewed for Series 11, which, given that they renewed Series 10 as soon as the first episode of Series 9 aired, I'm certain they're going to have a Series 11. So
I'm certain of it at this point, too.
Yeah, so, with that said, I think it's time to move on to our competitors. Yes? Before we start, I know the Robot Wars doesn't do the seeding system anymore, but we like to give our own seeding system. Because, hey, it's my show. I like to be a bit creative. And for this season, there's 6 seeds. Number 1 is Carbide, since it's the reigning champion. Number 2 is Eruption, because they're the runner-up. Ironside 3 did not return for this series, so the number 3 seed goes to Aftershock, who took 4th.
As Anderson told me, don't come in 3rd on the new series of Robot Wars. You won't be back.
Well, that happens. Number 4, I'm going to give to Apollo, since they're a former champion. Number 5 goes to Concussion. And number 6, because I feel like they should have gotten the wild card, it goes to Thor. That sounds fair, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So let's start off with the robots in Heat 1, Heat A, Heat A. Starting with our Series 8 or are you going to say something, Nick?
The Yellow Heat.
Oh, yes, because there's a good number of robots who are, in fact, yellow. Because apparently yellow is everyone's favorite color. I guess a lot of people are big fans of Panic Attack or something. But we'll start off with the Series 8 champion, Apollo.
Apollo. Flipper.
I swear, that announcer, he really sounds like Marek Ishtar from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged.
I don't mind the announcer, whoever it is, and thank you, all the members of the unofficial Robot Wars group, for telling me that it was not Billy Kirkwood. But they really need to just get rid of that distortion in his voice.
From Conway, Wales, Apollo. So Apollo is completely rebuilt from last season after it got completely destroyed by Carbide and Aftershock, and I've seen it in a few live events, and I've also seen it up close with a few people. This thing is huge. This is like one of the biggest flippers I've ever seen.
Bigger than Wheelie Big Cheese?
I have a good feeling it's bigger than Wheelie Big Cheese. Like, obviously they designed it for superpower, because they've already taken out, well, they've also taken out the Robots Lifehouse robot Goliath, but they've also taken out Shunt, Dead Metal, and Matilda. And obviously they want something big because they want to get Kilowatt over. You know they want to get that big blue fat man on tracks onto his side.
Well, maybe this will be the series they do it.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Dave Young, alas, his two compatriots in the 3-count band are no longer with us, so now he's joined by his brother, Alan Young, who runs the Robots Live events out in the UK. So it's good to see him back.
First appearance on Robot Wars since the Featherweight Melee in Series 7.
Yeah, he actually was on the technical team in Series 8. He actually does make an appearance where after the arena gets damaged during the Grand Final 3-way.
He almost had his head taken off by Rusty.
Oh, bloody Rusty.
Yes,
Yeah.
as soon as he was removing the pneumatic bar, the flipper just launched.
Jeez. I know people love their flippers. I get a bit scared of them sometimes because, with all that pneumatic cylinders and all the CO2, the time may come where it just whacks you right in the face.
I'd love to see someone enter Robot Wars with a flywheel-powered flipper.
Well, Zach O'Donnell here in the U.S., he built a flywheel-powered flipper. He could build a big heavyweight like that, maybe. But, yeah.
I was there when Jack Reacher ended Upheaval's streak.
Oh, yes. That was the other Alan Young from who built Upheaval here in the U.S. I would love to see the day when the two Alan Youngs face off. That would be phenomenal. But yeah, Apollo, it's definitely the red hot favorite for this heat, and there are a couple good machines in this episode. I think we should move on to the robot that has been in Robot Wars longer than anybody else, and it still can't get past the heat final. I am of course talking about Behemoth.
Behemoth, pneumatic scoop. Yeah,
yes.
I'm doing the Stefan Frank voice for this whole episode. Sorry,
Hey, good.
Anderson, I know you hate it, but whatever.
Well, yeah, Behemoth. Again, it's one of my favorite robots, and I still have my little mini Behemoth brother Nero sitting here, but it's going to have its first fight at the Franklin Institute this Saturday, so we'll see how it goes. But now Behemoth, it's pretty much a cursed machine. Like, so it's had so many chances at winning. Like, it should be a world champion. It should have. I don't know. I wouldn't say it would have made the grand final in Series 8, but it could have had a good chance. But, yeah, it's just... I thought, when Series 8 came along, I thought it was getting back to its roots, because it was really good. It beat Terahertz, and it beat Nuts, and it beat Bonk. I thought it would do well. And, of course, it lost to Carbide, which is no disgrace. And then Series 9 comes along. It got OOTA'd by Eruption, which... No disrespect. And then it had a goddamn awful match with Cherub with this ridiculous weapon and ended in a completely controversial judge's decision.
The less said about this, the better.
Yeah, well, I will say this though. Behemoth is here. I'm happy they came back. They brought the axe back, so they are still capable of doing some damage. And I think they have aside from Apollo, I'm sure they shouldn't have much issue facing any of the other machines. So, you never know. Behemoth is certainly one of the most unpredictable robots in Robot Wars, so we'll see how it holds up. What do you think, Nate?
Well, as you said, Behemoth, it's pretty much a cursed machine. I will say it definitely looks promising. I think adding the axe will add a little extra offense to it, but it'll have its work cut out for it against Apollo. I do hope it takes second or third in this heat so it has a chance at that 10 robot cluster crap of a match.
Of course. Well, we'll see what happens. They are definitely dedicated. They still come back for every series, and you never know this might in fact be their year. So let's move on to the other yellow machine in this heat, and that is Sabretooth.
Pray for Gabe again.
Pray for Gabe. And Gabriel Stroud, the driver, has always been known for entering completely different versions of Sabretooth into every series. Here, he's stuck to the poison arrow drum spinner looking design. Probably because
it's a big yellow hexagon.
Yeah, it's still got the drum. It still has those silly exhaust pipes at the back, which I still have no idea what they're for. But yeah, I don't know. It showed last year that it is very powerful. I just question its durability because last series it just got completely shredded by Aftershock, and here I really don't know. It may, again, it's a very, there are some machines I think it has a chance of beating. It may in fact make it to the second and third place in the heat. So I don't know. I really do think it has a chance to do well. What do you think, Nate?
Well, this is probably the simplest version of Sabretooth that we've seen. I mean, it's very sleek compared to the last few Sabretooths that had kind of an industrial, grungy sort of look to them. I definitely do agree with Jim Dramatic that it's definitely the most boring-looking Sabretooth, but I think it's going to be an effective little spinner. And it'll probably get some good carnage in if that drum can last.
I always say that the simplest designs can always be the most effective. Sabretooth, it does look a bit dull, but I will say it looks very solid. The drum looks like it can do some damage, and I look forward to seeing what it does.
I'm just worried that given just how flat it is, that it may not be very stable, and it'll start gyro dancing all over the arena.
Hey, gyro dancing always makes good showmanship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's Sabretooth. Now let's move on to what should be the big stars of this heat, and that is the Swarm.
The Swarm. Clusterbot.
Yeah. So, this is from
it's
the
the
bigger...
Swiss. It's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, it's from the bigger brother team. They have a whole assortment of different featherweight robots here. They have, cripes almighty, what's the name of all these bots? Rubber Duck, Pinza, Sky, and Blenda. Rubber Duck is a little yellow pneumatic flipper thing. It's keeping true, of course, to the whole yellow robot gimmick. Pinza is a horizontal pincer machine, which I believe was one of the creepy crawlies.
Shh. Don't. You're not supposed to say that. Don't tell anybody.
Why? Copyright infringement?
Yeah.
I figured. Sky, which I believe is meant to be it looks like a full-bodied spinner with pieces of tires on the edges. I believe they say it's supposed to be for entanglement.
I think so, yeah. It's supposed to be the spinner killer. It looks like a low-rent son of Waiachi.
Yeah. And Blenda, which is a big horizontal spinner. It looks like a baby carbide with a big spinning plate on the front.
These are basically just 4 featherweights that are being sent out to die.
Yeah, basically. And of course, keeping true to the whole heat gimmick, it's painted yellow.
Alex the Hunted said on James's preview, and yes, I am using James's preview as reference here.
You know what? We're gonna have him on the show anyway, so we can apologize for. No, we're not actually plagiarizing, but yeah.
They have 2 more.
Yeah, they have some spare machines that they came with 6 robots, but they couldn't fight with all of them because they were over the weight limit. So in case two of the machines get destroyed, they have a couple spares on hand.
Well, it's not just spares. Also, they can swap them out depending on who their opponents are.
Yeah.
So basically, this robot is like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers of Robot Wars robots.
Depends on what generation. But yeah, the Swarm. I have seen a few clips of it in the previews. Spinza actually looks pretty devastating, or is it Blenda? Blenda is called. Yeah, Blenda looks. What was I getting Spinza from? Oh, Pins. Rubber Duck. I have heard that pneumatic flipper is very powerful. Sky. I don't know. Looks like like you said, it's probably out there to be cannon fodder. And Pins, I don't know. The biggest problem I had with the creepy crawlies was that you have all these robots with these tiny pneumatic crushers. They're not going to grab onto anything. It's like those arms are just too small to grab onto these big heavies.
Yeah, gonna be like the little pusher bot.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I will say this. When you have so many robots running around, it's going to make for an entertaining battle. So, that covers all the veterans of this heat. Let's move on to the newcomers. Let's start with Apocalypse.
Which is apparently Mega Melvin in disguise.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. The Apocalypse team, they have fought before on the live circuit with Turbulence version 2. Basically, it's a big pneumatic flipper. And obviously, they weren't able to enter it because they wanted to take it easy on all the flippers. Bless you. They wanted to take it easy on all the not have too many flippers and have more variety with crushers and such. Apocalypse, its weaponry consists of an axe and 2 grabbing axes on the sides. It really reminds me of Splinter.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like a hybrid of GBH2 and Splinter. Oh, almost forgot to say it. Apocalypse. Axebot.
Thank you, Stefan Frank. Yeah, a little interesting fact, when I started getting into Robot Wars, I originally came up with a design called Maniac Miner, and it was basically the same design as Apocalypse, just a big box with an axe on top and a snow shovel on the back.
I'm just curious as to where you got the name Maniac Miner from. Roller Coaster Tycoon?
It was actually called Manic Miner, but yeah, I decided to call it, I added the A, Maniac Miner.
Because Manic Miner is a very famous computer game on the ZX Spectrum.
Wow.
And yes, I know I'm going to get major brownie points from the British viewers for saying it as ZX and not ZX.
I don't know. I only know Manic Miner from Roller Coaster Tycoon, so. But,
well, that's where it got the name from.
Apocalypse, honestly, I don't know. To me, it just seems like a 2001 design in 2017. Don't you think?
I actually really like the look of Apocalypse, and I think this could be a dark horse for the Heat.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, Shockwave, people underestimated that, and it still managed to get to the grand final. So, yeah, we'll have to see how it does.
I mean, I like the fact that we've got an axe bot with grabbers. That's something that I wish we would see more of.
Yeah, it's a really good idea, and it's a shame that Splinter is no longer around. It was sold to Leo Van Meert, and unfortunately, it took too much damage from Terahertz. So, yeah, this is basically its spiritual successor. So we'll see how it does. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you all the final entrant in this heat, Donald Thump.
Donald Thump. Oh, where do I even begin with this one?
Go ahead.
Honestly, I was gonna rant about this, but after seeing like some footage of the team, it's grown on me. I mean, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm just getting sick of all the Trump hate, really. I mean, it's just nothing but nonstop Trump satire here in the U.S. You know, can't you find someone else in Washington to satirize? I mean, I'm not gonna say that Trump doesn't deserve it, but come on, people, swing for the cheap seats.
Well, it's the UK. I don't think they know a whole lot about who else is in office.
Well,
Hell, I don't even know who's in office.
it's Theresa May. She's their prime minister.
Okay, Theresa May. That what kind of design can you make out of that? A Mayflower?
I don't know,
Oh,
but
this video is gonna get flagged for inappropriate content
in the UK at least.
in the UK.
I don't think anyone in the US gives one about British politics.
Yeah. Donald Trump. I will say this: James Davies, who I don't think is related to Kim, but he really plays up the gimmick.
I love it. I love that. I was gonna say I love the team though. I love Team Ballistics. I hope they come back for the 11th Wars when there is one, because it's gonna happen. I'm gonna say when, not if, when bringing up the possibility of an 11th Wars, because it's gonna happen. Hopefully.
Oh, they're gonna greenlight it 10 minutes into the show.
But I would love to see James Davies come back with a new gimmick every year, like maybe being a secret agent, a rock star, a disgruntled postman.
Well, you never know. Now as far as Donald Trump goes, it actually, when you get rid of the hair and the whole Donald Trump gimmick, it actually looks pretty solid.
I agree.
It's armored in hard ox, which is like the hardest material in the world.
3mm theater. It looks really thick.
The thing is, the manual says it has thin armor. I don't know, maybe because they think Trump is thin-skinned or something. I don't know.
Probably. They should have just listed its weakness as fragile ego.
Yeah.
I anxiously await to hear how Donald Trump would react to this when he sees this robot.
My God. I look forward. This is going to take social media by storm. I'm telling you right now. This is going to be the new meme, the new meta.
At least in Britain.
Yeah. If you get rid of the Donald Trump gimmick, it's heavily armored. I don't know how effective the weapon is going to be, because it does look a bit small. I don't know if this thing can self-right either, because I know
it doesn't look like it's probably just gonna. If it gets flipped over, it's probably just gonna do the thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It'll probably just do a bit of skittering, and then it'll just go into the wall or something. Hey, Donald Trump wanted a wall. Here's a wall for you. But yeah, this should be a blast.
I thought the wall wrestled in WCW.
I don't know. Wasn't he on top of a building or something?
Yeah. And he was also right-hand man for Alex Wright when he was Berlin. Get it? Berlin and the Wall.
Oh my lord. And people wonder why WCW died. But honestly, given the competition it has, I don't see Donald Trump doing all that well, but you never know. Because you don't know. I don't know. But it will certainly be entertaining. There will be a lot of good one-liners. Angela Scanlon had a good one-liner in the little Donald Trump preview.
Oh, the Kofifi line, yes.
Bound to give opponents Kofifi or something like that.
Yeah, from Donald Trump's infamous social media mind fart.
Now, with that said, that pretty much covers Heat A. Who do you think is going to win, and who's going to get the other two spots?
I think first place it's going to be Apollo, with Behemoth coming in as a strong second. Because even if it loses, it's still going to be entered into the Battle Royal. But if it fails to get beyond the double eliminations, then Behemoth's going to add to its incredible legacy of failure.
Back to the basement with you. But, yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. Apollo, I'd say, wins the heat. Behemoth takes second, and Sabretooth will get third. So, we'll see what happens. It should be a really fun first episode, and I look forward to seeing it on Sunday. So, let's move on to Heat 2, or as I like to call it, the Elite Heat.
The Heat of the Elite.
Yes, because all 6 of these competitors, they're all veterans. They've all have tons of experience, both in Robot Wars and on the live circuits. We have the top 3 seeds, Carbide, Eruption, and Aftershock. We have Gabriel 2, who should have been a grand finalist, and I believe won a FRA event couple months ago. You have Big Nipper, who is a former two-time FRA champion, and then you have Crackers and Smash, who smashed the arena wall. Does that count?
I guess. They're champions of the arena's destruction. How about that?
Yeah, that's perfect. We'll start with the seedings, and then we'll work our way down. So we'll start off with the reigning champions and number one seeds, Carbide.
Carbide. Horizontal spinner.
Yeah, so Carbide, hands down, one of the best, I'd say the best robot in the UK right now. Just absolutely decimated everyone last season. Just a complete sweep.
It's the Goldberg of Robot Wars.
Yes.
Absolutely squashes everything in its way, jobber or not, and you're next.
Not really much else to say. Obviously, Dave Molds and Sam Smith are back. They want to they want to retain that championship. But to tell you the truth, I just think Carbide is too good right now.
I just think Carbide is too good right now, indeed.
Which probably means it might lose at some point.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you what the reference is. Just look up Pecorine is too good right now.
Speaking of, your Skype picture is Pecorine. Oh, yes. But yeah, Carbide, obviously the red hot favorite for this. So we'll have to see how it does. It certainly has some tough competition because this is a grand final caliber heat. Because right behind them is the number two seeds, Eruption.
Flipper.
Yep. Obviously, they got rid of the top weapon. Obviously, I think for the last two series, they put that there because they wanted it to look flashy to impress the producers. Now that they've been in two series, they've decided, yeah, we don't need this anymore. Let's just stick to the Flipper, put some new armor platings on, protect ourselves from Carbide and what other spinners we got. So it pretty much looks the same as it does in the live circuit, except it's now still got those two spinner killers on the side.
Mm-hmm. I actually got to meet Michael Oates during my trip to the UK. I went to a Extreme Robots event, and I got to go backstage.
Yeah, and you had him sign the Extreme Robots poster I got hanging up on the wall. I thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, Eruption, obviously they got torn apart last series, and Michael Oates, you gotta respect the dude. Managing to put Eruption back together after that mauling. It basically looks like a brand new machine.
I do love the color scheme, though, of red, black, and yellow.
Yeah, it also matches the sweatshirts they got.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love the sweatsuits they've got on, too.
Yeah, again, Eruption, another really tough machine and another favorite. I think we'll move on to the number 3 seeds now, since Ironside didn't return. We'll move on to Aftershock.
Vertical spinner.
Yep. Will Thomas and Ian Thomas are back. Aftershock, they've upgraded the armor. It's now made out of...
It's a lot more solid.
It's got hardened steel. They've gotten rid of the polycarbonate. And obviously you need it if you're going up against Carbide. So hopefully we won't have any panels flying through the arena wall or something. Holy crap.
I'm wondering if they if the live crowd when that happened pulled a WWE and went, holy shit.
Might not be a whole lot of WWE fans over there, except Anderson and Owain.
Mm-hmm.
And who else is a wrestling fan over there? I don't know.
It's just
I only know Anderson and Owain, and maybe Alex the Hunted. I don't know.
I don't think Alex the Hunted cares about wrestling.
He does care about anime girls and Godzilla costumes, though.
His secret shame.
I don't know. You know what? Everyone has something.
And now Alex is not gonna come on our podcast. We're not gonna have him on after that. I'm sorry, Alex, but you know what? You can feel free to disassociate yourself with us for that.
Dude, you have as much anime stuff in your house as probably he does. Why do you think we call you Otaku Nate?
I regret nothing!
But yeah, Aftershock, I don't know. It looks a lot more. It looks a lot more extra thick. It looks a lot more sturdy.
Thick.
Yes. We'll see what happens. Like again, anything can happen in this heat. It's called the Elite Heat for a reason.
Also, one last observation I have, because my mom is always one who looks at the many British Roboteers, and oftentimes she has averse reactions to people, but she pointed this out to me, and this is probably going to prevent Will Thomas from coming on our show too, so yeah, let's drive away both Alex the Hunted and Will Thomas. Will Thomas's hair is shorter than his dad's.
You know what? My hair is shorter than Dad's now.
Right, I'm
going to tell you that right now. All right, Nate, you're fired. Get out of my podcast.
Okay, I'm going.
All right. Now let's move on to one of my personal favorite machines, and oh boy, do they have quite some opposition ahead of them, and that is Gabriel 2.
Gabriel. Thwackbot. And just like that, I'm back.
Yay! I missed you. So yeah, the Kalius boys are back. And I consider them one of the elite because they should have made it to the they should have made it to the grand final last year, but unfortunately it wasn't to be.
I'm not gonna lie, Gabriel is my favorite robot from the modern series, and it's mostly because I underestimated just how strong it was. Because when we were,
I'm sure a lot of people did.
When we were watching Heat 5 of Series 8, I saw Gabriel, I saw those spindly plastic wheels, and I thought to myself, yeah, that's not getting past the heat. It's going to be torn into a million pieces. It's got 2 spinners in its battle. It's got not Ironside 3. No, Ironside 3 and Pulsar are in the same battle, but yeah, it's got like the spinner Crazy Coupe 88 in its heat, and it's got to deal with Thermidor 2. There's no way this thing's going to last. And then it got through to the second round, and I thought, well, okay, yeah, this is a fluke. There is no way this thing's gonna last against Ironside 3. And even though it lost against Ironside 3, Ironside 3's blade just bounces off its wheels, and I go, wait a minute, how is this thing still standing? And I saw it just flailing about throughout the arena, just smashing that mace on top of everything. And by the time the heat was over, even though it lost to Pulsar, I was in love with this thing.
Yes.
It's a wonderful little piece of engineering, and to me it's the gold standard as to how a Thwackbot should be built.
I consider this the greatest Thwackbot ever built. I'm saying this right now. Stinger, I'm sorry. Huge, I know everybody loves Huge, but I'm sorry.
That's
this
more
is the
an
originator.
Axelbot.
Well, sometimes it thwacks. It's got those little arms on the sides.
Yeah, those are its supports.
Yeah, but Gabriel, this is the big daddy right here. But yeah, you got to respect the team. Craig Colias. I always like to call him Craig Colossus. That's really what it sounds like. But yeah, Craig, Toby Colias, he's going to be doing the driving, and got to respect the kid because he's in the same heat as Carbide. And Gabriel may have held up well to all the axes and flippers and the occasional spinner, but this is the ultimate test. We're going to see just how well those wheels are going to hold up to Carbide, because I don't know. It might end up in 3 whole pieces, or we might be getting a Winter Wonderland at the end, but you never know. We might be seeing a shock, but I don't know. Nate, what do you think? How do you rate their chances?
Well, I think they could finish in the top 3 in this heat, getting them through to the melee, but to me the biggest worry for them isn't Carbide, it's Aftershock. And I'll tell you why. Because that disc goes up high enough to hit the main body, which is their major weak point. They won't have to worry about Carbide's horizontal spinner, since, the wheels can just deflect it. But when you've got a weapon that can hit your body where all your vitals are, that's when you should start worrying.
Well, again, we'll see what happens. But
Also,
this is
also
the ultimate test of courage.
one last thing, of course. Every heat's Gabriel's probably going to end up being in every heat if you catch my drift.
Oh yes, because if you watch any of the Series 9 matches, I did upload them to YouTube, but now they're only viewable in the UK. But if you look in the background during the pits, you can see Gabriel's wheels just sitting in the background. It's like the Where's Waldo of robots. Where's its wheels? Oh, there it is. You see Gabriel's wheels right back over there.
Aren't they like 3 feet tall?
Let's see. I got a ruler right here. I'd say maybe. Let's see. Does it have dimensions? It does not have dimensions. So maybe a good 2.5, 3 feet.
I think they're as big as the Stanley Cup.
You know, I'm looking at the team picture right now, and they're about half the size of the kids. So yeah, at least a good 2.5, 3 feet on them. So
hey, should we also talk about Craig Colias's outfit?
Yeah,
because he in Series 8 he had this cool little like steampunk time traveler outfit. You know what I think he looks like in this series?
Who?
He looks like the child napper from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh boy.
With that hat and that cane. It's either that or he kind of looks like a fancier version of Marty Skrull from Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you give him the mask and an umbrella, he could be Marty Skrull. Little fun fact, Leo Van Meert, who built Bullfrog and RCC, he has his own Marty Skrull cosplay. So, we'll talk to him about that if we get him on the podcast for the There's also a world championship, I believe, at the end. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Leo, if you're interested, you're free to come on.
And I think we'll finish off this heat with, I'd say, the most technologically advanced robot in this episode, because some really heavy engineering gone into this, and that is, of course, 2-time FRA champion Big Nipper.
Big Nipper. Pincers.
Or spinner.
Either
or lifter. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Big Nipper. It's very well engineered. I love the design of the claws, where it can just grab onto an opponent, lift them up, and just carry them around or even out of the arena. And they also have the big spinning disc attachment on there, which did some fairly decent damage in Series 8. So
they've got a bigger disc this time around.
Yeah, I was disappointed they didn't make it into Series 9, but I'm happy to see them back. And one thing I do have to say, it's very well engineered. Its armor looks really thick. It's got 4 to 10 millimeter high grade titanium, so I think it could hold up well to Carbide. It held up well to Supernova, aside from the disc breaking, but I don't know. I should be interesting to see how it holds up. I think I believe this has happened before, but I think it could use those claws to just grab onto Gabriel and just carry them around.
Yeah, if Gabriel gets in at the right angle so that its wheels aren't touching the ground, Big Nipper could use it to its advantage.
Yeah, so...
But just keep in mind, Gabriel's body is on its own axis, so it could wriggle free.
Well, yeah, again, another high-class robot, well-engineered, well-protected, some decent weapons, so, yeah, this is definitely going to be... I'm definitely hyped for this heat. This should be a lot of fun. So, that concludes Heat 2.
Wait, you're forgetting one.
I am? Oh, yes. How could I forget?
The robot who's one of whose members we're having on as a guest.
Oh, cripes almighty. Now David's not going on to the podcast. We're doomed. We're screwed. Yeah, it is, of course, the Clusterbot Crackers and Smash.
Crackers and Smash. Clusterbot.
I feel so bad for Alex Botwright and David Weston, because they're solid machines, but damn. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, you look at them, if they fight Gabriel, they're just gonna slide right underneath Gabriel. If they fight against Carbide, they're probably going to be sent flying.
And
If they
destroy
fight
the arena again.
and destroy the arena again, because the Nudniks who built this arena still haven't figured out that using thin arena wall panels is not effective.
It's not even, dude, it's not the panels, it's the screws that hold them in place.
Do what Robo Games and BattleButts does and get those big thick barriers.
No. Don't just, forget those little screws. Just bring in some big heavy bolts to bolt the panels to the wall.
To heck with it. I'm saying right now, like, you watch BattleBots or Robo Games, and obviously those arenas were held up to defend off attacks from Last Rites and Tombstone. These tiny little robots who weigh, I don't know, 60 kilograms, one went flying into a wall and it just popped off like nothing. So, I don't know.
I seriously hope if they make a Robot Wars Arena playset, it comes complete with breakaway walls.
Well, I'm sure, unless it's a build-it-yourself arena and you just don't put any screws into the walls. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how Crackers and Smash do, because
they're very durable little machines. Because I do think Crackers and Smash is my favorite cluster bot. Although, I think Jim Jamatics summed it up best, because when I said, Crackers and Smash is my favorite cluster bot, Jim just said to me, Crackers and Smash are just two tanks.
Yeah. And they do have potential. Like, Smash really reminds me of Dominant Mode with the spinning drum. And Crackers reminds me of a bit of Loki, the featherweight, with the lifting arm in the front. So we'll see what happens. But, with this roster, anything can happen. So that concludes Heat 2. I'm not missing anybody, am I?
No, you got them all.
Alrighty. Dave, I'm sorry. I love you. I love your gloves. So we'll move on to Heat 3.
Do we want to give our predictions?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with Carbide with Eruption as runner-up.
I'm going to go with Carbide finishing first, with Gabriel second, Eruption third.
Sounds about right. So now we'll move on to Heat 3, and we no seeds, but we do have a couple veterans, starting with another machine who has been with us forever, Terahertz.
Terahertz. Axebot.
Yeah, John Reed. It's a shame he got very unlucky last series. He lost his tail, got completely shredded, and
he just couldn't get a good hit.
Back. No. No more firing. And he's back. He has a much thicker front scoop, which should hold up well against the spinners.
Is his beard thicker too?
Well, I hope so. That was his trademark.
it's his big. I just love how he's become this big meme in Robot Wars shunt posting between his beard and his love for lubricant.
Oh God. Well, I guess he was tired of the Colin Mockery jokes, so.
And now he just looks like Santa. Hey, maybe he could join Mick Foley in spreading the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Now, Terahertz, I think this is actually this is a kind of a rather average heat. There are a couple machines who are newcomers, but really don't have any pedigree amongst them. Terahertz, I think, is a favorite here. They had issues last year where their CO2 system kept freezing up because of the cold weather. This series was filmed in May, I believe, so it's a lot warmer.
Yeah. It's a much warmer month.
So hopefully he shouldn't have too many issues with the axe.
Hopefully they'll finally get a good hit.
Yes, a good hit, and hopefully protects those wheels a lot better, because that's what kind of brought them down. And I think we'll move on to the other favorite in this heat, and certainly one of the most expensive robots that has ever been built in this show. And now they've come back with gold plating. It is, of course, Rapid.
Rapid Money Pit. Seriously, if this thing bombs out again, I'm calling it Mortis.
Oh, That is
I know
darkness.
I know they lied about just how much Mortis costs. Like they said it was 10,000 pounds, but it was closer to like 2 or 3,000 pounds. But seriously, 25,000 pounds for that.
And God only knows how much they spent on this version, since
Hey, they've still got that beautiful gearbox.
Well, a little interesting thing, they now put plexiglass on the side, so if those gearboxes do get mangled, it won't be difficult to get to them.
Well, oh god, Jim Dramatic got the best comment post. Hang on, let me see if I can find it.
Like, I was impressed with Rapid in the very little we saw of it last season. It was very powerful flipper. It's flipped jellyfish and aftershock around pretty high, well, fairly far and high. They now claim it can flip up to 120 kilograms, which, okay, the weight limit's 110.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, if you want to do that, see if you can take on one of the house robots. But yeah, I'd say this Rapid. This might win the heat. I'm not sure. It's between them and Terahertz, so you never know.
Well, okay. Jim Dramatic had the best comment about Rapid in the group, because I said if it bombs out again, I'm gonna call it Mortis. Jim Dramatic had this to say: people are calling us the next Mortis, and we did spend 25 grand on it last year. How do we top a controller frame that attaches to my torso? I know. Gold. Lots of gold. That'll show the people that we won't overspend this time.
I think what's going to be interesting is how well is that gold going to hold up? Like,
it's very, I wouldn't say thin, but it's very malleable. It bends and flexes very easily. I think it's meant more as a shock absorber than yes.
Yeah, I want Terahertz to kick its ass. No, I wish them luck. I hope they do very well in this heat. So we'll move on to the final veteran with an old friend of ours. It is, of course, Craig Danby and his brother Chris Danby's big bar spinner, Apex.
Apex. Bar spinner.
Yeah, we didn't really see a whole great deal of it last year because all it took was one hit from Pulsar, and then it lost all its bearings, literally, and it just died. So I predicted it was going to be either a smashing hit or just completely self-destruct, and it self-destructed, but it wasn't as spectacular.
Yeah, that
as
was my prediction. I thought, I predict that Apex is totally going to blow up, and unfortunately, it did not blow up, and I was sad because I fully expected, like, its internals to start sparking, like it was made by Gary Cairns or something. No offense to you, Gary.
What? Non-Tyken. Apex, I don't know if I'll be able to find a picture of it. If not, I'll just use the wiki picture they got right here. But they have a new spinning blade. It kind of looks like a big version of Cobalt Spinner from BattleBots. It's got it's one half has a little axe thing to it. The other side's got like a big, like Jim said, it kind of looks like a guitar. So yeah. And from the previews, it looks like it can do some damage. So I hope it does well, because Craig, I think if he can get some good hits, he should do well.
Apex, it looks good. I don't know if it'll be a heat winner. I don't think it will, but it's got a lot of potential, and hopefully Craig Danby can break his perpetual streak of bad luck.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest issues that people pointed out, Apex has a big weapon, but it's more weapon than robot. Like, it feels like if it didn't self-destruct last season, it might this season. I don't know.
Hey, I'm hoping it self-destructs, because I love it when robots go out in a blaze of glory. Just look at the original Ice Wave.
Absolutely.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, do a quick YouTube search for Ice Wave versus Major Punishment.
Yeah, it was the Ice Wave from BattleBots. It was an original version, and it broke in half during one of its live matches, and it's gorgeous to see. But yeah, I wish good luck to Craig and Chris, and we'll see how Apex does.
Shall we do the old chant for Craig just for old time's sake?
All right, yes.
Let's do the Craig chant on 3. 1, 2, 3. Good luck, Craig.
Yes. So that covers the veterans. Let's move on to the newcomers. And let's start with... We got to start off with this machine. I like to call this General Chomps-a-Lot on steroids.
Oh, I love this thing.
It is Bucky the Robot.
Bucky. Big pair of teeth. I absolutely love this thing. It's amazing.
Yeah,
one of my favorite robot designs of all time.
Yeah, basically it's supposed to be like an overhead guillotine blade.
It goes, guillotine! Yeah! And that's the second time that I have made that reference on this podcast.
I still have no idea what you're referencing. But yeah. Oh, you goof. Bucky, I will say this, it definitely has creativity to it, and from what I heard, their mascot is, it's definitely a sight to behold.
Let me put it to you this way. We're probably going to flash an image of this on screen. Last year, the Edmonton Oilers, they're a hockey team, they introduced their first mascot ever, and it's a giant bobcat by the name of Hunter. And the internet absolutely eviscerated this thing because of just how horrifying it looked. And yet you want to know why the Edmonton Oilers approved of it?
Why?
Because kids loved it.
Okay, I'm looking at a picture. Holy shit almighty, what is that? What the fuck is that?
That's Hunter.
I am horrified right now. I'm gonna get that off my screen right now. Get out.
Oh, believe me, Bucky's mascot is more terrifying than that.
Well, if only this episode came out on Halloween, I'm sure it would have fit the mood. But no.
Especially with all the candy you're gonna be eating.
Oh yeah, that's true. This is what a robot looks like after Halloween.
I would not be surprised if we see the team brushing those teeth in between fixing it. I'm just cracking up talking about Bucky. That's how much I love this thing. If they have awards this season, and I'm pretty sure that they won't, I would definitely give Bucky one for most original entry.
I'll definitely give it to the the showmanship award or something like that, or I'll give it the Mr. Psycho horrified face award for most ridiculous design. Now, yeah, I look forward to seeing it. Unfortunately, I don't know how well it's going to do, because as cool as it looks, it does not look very stable. Between it's missing armor pieces, all the electronics are exposed. The most armor I see is on the sides, so I don't know. I just pray to God it doesn't become the next Napalm.
Oh
That's
no,
all I'm gonna tell you right now.
It won't. And you know why?
Why's that?
Because the team knows how to have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, so...
Oh, also, one little thing you didn't notice.
What's that?
It has a little crank on the side.
That's probably the holding pin for the weapon.
Really? Because it looks more like you know those like little wind-up teeth that you had as a kid. That's what it looks like to me. Like it winds up and then it just starts chomping everywhere, which sounds extremely dangerous.
I definitely look forward to seeing what this robot does.
Oh, I want to see Team Tomco in the next series, because they have a chance to be another Nuts or Dietor team.
Hey, that's what we love. When your robot isn't great, you can still have fun and have some showmanship.
And
Chromalot showed that. Plunderbird Boys showed that. It more
Donald
than makes
Thump
up
has
for it.
shown that.
Oh, Donald Thump. You know what? Donald Thump, I might do well. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing this beast in action. So we got two more newcomers. We'll move on to Traction.
Traction. Oh, hi, suicidal tendencies.
It looks like Suicidal Tendencies if it was made in Arenas of Destruction. It's got that weird looking grabbing arm that kind of looks like Fang. It's got the little wedgelets on the front. It's got the tracks, which it's actually been a while since we've seen a tracked competitor robot in Robot
I
Wars.
think the last competitor to use tracks in Robot Wars was, Tracks.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of a shame because BattleBots it has had a few tracked robots. Heck, we have a former champion, Fight Force, which was a tracked robot. And
Charlie Binns, did you have a hand in designing Traction?
well, they're from Reading, or is Bins from Reading? I don't know.
I'm gonna look this up now.
Little interesting fact: Traction was in fact mentored by Will Thomas from Team Shock.
Yeah, it's a school entry.
Yeah, it's a school entry.
Okay, they're from Derbyshire.
All right. I don't know. Maybe do a Google Map search or something. I don't know. But yeah, Traction.
Ooh, Carbide's from Derbyshire.
Oh, small
And so is
world.
Chomp-a-Lot. And Mega Mouse.
Oh, let's say I'm sure they got a whole. If you check the wiki, they probably have like 30 robots from Derby. So yeah, but Traction. I don't know. Like I have no idea. As far as I know, the Crusher doesn't crush; it just grabs. So I don't know how effective it's going to be. And
It's meant to be a push bot, or I guess a proof of concept.
But you know what? It's a student design, and I will say I do give them props for a first attempt because I don't know how well it's going to do, but I do look forward to seeing it in action. So, and given that it is double elimination, they have two chances to show off what they can do. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with this one. And now we'll move on to one of the weirdest designs I've ever seen, Vulture.
Vulture. Vertical spinner?
It's a vertical spinner on an arm. It's kind of like
Gloomy?
It's kind of like robots like Gloomy
SOB.
and Ron, Ron, Sawblaze, but
That darn dustpan.
All kinds of dustpan bots, but rather than have a Sawblade, they have a flywheel.
Interesting.
I don't know. There was a robot from a very, very long time ago that competed in an event called Battle Beach, which was run by Brian Nave, and I forget what it was called. Let me look it up a little bit. It was called Pandemic, I believe, which was It was a similar design to Vulture. It was a vertical spinning disc mounted on an arm that moved up and back around the robot. It didn't do very well, but it was a very, very interesting design. Vulture, I think. Is it supposed to have is that supposed to be like a single tooth disc on the arm or something?
I couldn't tell you because I don't have the image in front of me.
I have the image. I'll post it here. It's if you go right on Google, you can find it. Yeah, it looks like a single. It's one of those weird like two tooth discs or something. And the biggest issue with that with I just don't see how effective it would be because for starters, because with Sawblaze, if you move move the blade very slowly, you're able to get a nice slice right into the armor. With Vulture's disc, it looks like it could move down, and then when it touches the opponent, it's just going to go like flapping up against the surface. I really don't see how effective it would be.
It should have been an overhead spinner. I don't know. I can't really see where the arm is. I mean, like, does it come out like an axe?
It moves. It kind of moves a bit like the original Dead Metal Saw. Like you see it from the back, and then it goes over the top. You see a little chain.
Well,
front.
to be fair, if it's supposed to be like a grab and spin robot, at least it's got a very big wedge.
Yes. If you don't have a dustpan, you can always use a wedge. So.
Well, the dustpan is your wedge.
Basically. Again, I have no idea. I have no idea how well it's gonna do. But yeah. We'll see what happens, because you know what I really like? I like ingenuity, and it's one of the main reasons I really like Series 4, because they have a lot of really wacky designs, as most of which are really ineffective, like Dark Destroyer or whatever the heck Scorpion was supposed to do, but I do give them points for being really creative and being really original and wacky with their designs, and I have to give Vulture credit for this. I really look forward to seeing what it can do. Oh, and Jarvis Callister, I recognize that name.
Hey,
so
hey, maybe we'll have him on in the third heat.
All right, get a hold of him.
Because we've probably driven everyone else away.
Yes, we've driven Craig away. We've driven Alex the Hunted away. I don't know. Maybe I'll bring him back with a picture of Starfire sitting on Foxic or something. I don't know. So the last two heats, there isn't really a setup yet. There's no. Or wait, we have Reddit. What am I thinking? We got Reddit right here, and they have a complete list of who's going to be fighting in Heat D and E. So we'll start with Heat D with the number 5 seed, Concussion.
Concussion. Drum spinner.
Yep, Concussion certainly had one of the wackiest debuts of Series 9. They burnt out their speed controllers. They got stuck on a pit and got bored by Matilda.
Don't use that word.
Well, let's be honest. It got devoured, basically. Hey, take it easy. There won't be, well, actually Bucky's in this series, so there might actually be some eating robot action. So
cannibalism, yeah. I love
cannibalism. Cripes Almighty, is Concussion really improved from the last series?
They've got a hard top this time instead of it being plastic.
Well, that's better than nothing, but yeah. So far for now,
I think they have a bigger drum. I guess I don't know. I do really like Concussion, and I said it has the potential to be a dark horse in the new series.
Sure. Yeah. And I don't know, because Concussion, it was a fantastic first attempt. They managed to make it to the grand final, and I expect a lot more from this machine. And honestly, they don't have a whole really difficult heat aside from a couple tough machines here and there.
Terahertz and Apex come to mind, and Rapid.
Yeah, well, that's Heat C, but Heat D. We'll see how it goes, but I think we'll definitely. Speaking of Heat C, I think I don't know if we mentioned, but my prediction is Terahertz wins and Rapid takes second. What do you think?
I agree with you. Terahertz first, Rapid takes second, third. I'm gonna give it to Bucky.
Why not?
Because I love Bucky.
Yep. So back to Concussion. Yep. We'll see how it holds up. Hopefully it does well.
I look forward to seeing Tim and his mohawk again.
Yeah, that should be a blast. And I talked to him. We'll have him on the podcast as well. So that should be fun. And let's move on to Nuts 2, shall we?
Nuts 2, Flailbot.
Yeah, obviously Nuts 2 didn't
you
have...
jinxed it!
All I said was I wanted to see Matilda get her flywheel up to speed.
And you jinxed them! You jinxed them, man!
Dumpster fire. Nuts 2, they're back. I have seen the preview. They finally got the Melty Brain system working.
Yeah, for those who don't know what Nuts looks like when it's actually up to speed now, boys, just look up Nuts spinning test. This thing will take your legs off.
Yeah, it's truly frightening. I mean,
Will Thomas is afraid of this thing.
Yeah, like Nuts in Series 8, it was basically a comedy entrant. I look at Nuts 2 spinning, and I'm genuinely terrified. Like, when this thing connects, something bad's definitely going to happen. And, yeah, I look forward to seeing it again. The Nutty Boys are awesome. I thank Alex Shakespeare
for the series.
They have of course they do. They got new hats. They got, what else do they got? I think they got the same wheels. I think they still have the multi-bots.
Yeah, they still do. Yeah,
so I look forward to seeing them in action. I hope they win a match now because and I think they have a good chance. Just go easy on them, Tim, or whoever's driving Concussion. Carl. That covers Nuts 2, and now they don't have a wiki picture for this yet, but Andron 4000 is a big Crusher bot.
Andron 4000. Crusher. A lot of Crushers in this series. I like it.
Yeah, well, the producer said they wanted more variety, and they said they wanted to have more Crushers and Clamps and Axes and whatnot. So, yeah, Andron 4000...
it looks like it was built by the Sabretooth team.
It kind of looks like a combination of Sabretooth and Charles Guan's overhaul. It's got the little Crusher spike on the front that goes down. It kind of looks like it can go down like that, and I know because Derpy has the Crusher mark to prove it.
It looks like
Thanks, Charles.
It looks like a modern version of Kronos from
kind of from Series 4. Yeah, I don't know. I was never a big fan of pneumatic Crushers because they don't really have that much oomph to them. Like Kronos's didn't work, Behemoths didn't work, so I don't know. But apparently this let's see what it says. The claw features a vertical piercing spike mounted on a pivoting arm, which also doubles as an axe and a Shremek while electrically powered. Once switched to a hydraulic power, the claw acts as a regular Crusher with a hydraulic cylinder. So it's like a combination of hydraulic and electric. So
hydroelectric.
Hydroelectric. There you go.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm gonna top Chugga Conroy as being the king of bad puns.
Well, you know what? We need plenty of jokes and variety in this 2-hour-long video. So, yeah. I don't know, because I've not seen Andron 4000 in action. I don't know how well it's going to stand up to Concussion, or even Nuts for that matter. So
Nuts, that arm is going to be a prime target for Shaky to do his thing on.
Well, it's always good to see new and unique designs and see how well they hold up. So, and Andron 4000, I believe, is this the first robot they've built?
I would like to say yes, but I am not entirely sure.
Team Andron started working on it for entry into Series 9. Intended built for Series 8. This is their first build. So, yeah, this is a new machine.
I don't think they're going to have the same success as Concussion did, and that was their first robot.
Yeah, well, again, you never know. There's always unpredictability. Housebots, hazards, bullshit. It always comes back to bite you. So, yeah, that covers that first round. Let's move on to the second of our of the opening melees. Let's start off with Tauron.
Tauron, the slut of Robot Wars. Sam Elliott's title, not mine.
Oh boy. Yeah, Tauron. I was a big fan of Tauron when I saw it in Series 9, and I was so disappointed when it went out in that one hit.
It killed itself.
Well, yeah, Concussion just banged into it and the power link popped out. You know what? That's happened a lot. Once they get the power link figured out, and because I think their loss was just a fluke, you know. But but I really like the look of it. It's I think it's still the same design as it was,
No,
but
no,
I
no.
think they
It's a
rebuilt
whole
it.
new design this time.
Whole new design.
Yeah,
All
it's a
right.
lot lower to the ground this time. It doesn't have that sloping chassis like it did in the Ninth Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit skeptical because I wasn't sure if it could run inverted because
Well, this one can. It's got the supports to make sure that it can run inverted.
that's great. Yeah, because yeah, Tom Brewster, or is it Tim Brewster? Tom Brewster.
Uh, Tom's the kid. Timmy's the
Yeah,
is the dad.
yeah. Because I remember hearing him on Sam's podcast, and between confusing Tim with Tom, that was a blast. But yeah, he sounds like a good guy. I really like the look of his machine, and I hope he does really well with it.
I hope so too.
However, he has some tough competition in the form of a Robot Wars veteran who didn't have a whole lot of success in the original show, but it had a mountain of success on the live circuit. I am, of course, talking about Ironaw.
Ironaw. Flipper. They were famous
Yep.
for getting flipped out of the arena in the old series. Now they're flipping robots out now.
Yes. Ironaw. You really need to see like Ironaw 5, 6, 7, 8. I think they're almost up to 9 now. I believe this is version 6.
It is Ironaw 6.
It is Ironaw 6, and for the most part, it looks the same as it does on the live circuit, except now it has a little added wedge bits to the front. The flipper is silver. I guess they forgot to paint it.
I think it looks like they ran out of time to paint it.
And they have what looks like 2 pool noodles on the side.
Those are supports to make sure that it doesn't get side stranded.
I actually heard somebody might said these were cannons for blasting entanglements, nets out. But I don't know.
It looks like they would have some nets that they just found, and when Gilbert says go, they'll be ready to throw.
How pumped do you think it would be if they had like guns like Brutus had in BattleBots?
Oh, if they had sparklers or party poppers in there, I would mark out big time.
That would be fantastic. But
throw it at him, not me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the We're #1 reference went right over your head.
I don't even remember. But this, even before we get to the end, this is my pick to win this heat. This definitely looks like a dark horse to win this entire series.
I would agree with you, considering that to me, Heat D looks to be the weakest of the 5.
Yeah, and honestly, I really don't see who can beat Ironaw here. Concussion might get a few hits. What are you doing over there?
Just going through a bag.
Stop going through your bag.
Edit that out, please.
All right. But yeah, Ironaw. I don't really see any machine who could beat it here. Concussion might get flipped over all the time. Toron, Nuts too. I really don't know. But even before we get to the end of the episode, I'm just saying right now, Ironaw is my pick to win this heat.
Mine too.
Yeah. Although you can't count out the kegs.
The kegs. Who wants a pint? John Frizzell. Yeah. This is John Frizzell's best robot.
It is. I absolutely love the looks of these two. You know what they remind me of? I think, was it John Finley or somebody? But there was a robot a while ago called Banana Armor.
That was John Findley.
That was, in fact, John Findlay, and he loves to fight. But basically, it was a cluster bot.
No, that's Share and Destroy.
Oh, Share and Destroy. Share and Destroy. But I know Jono built a robot out of a barrel. And Share and Destroy. Yeah, Share and Destroy was also made out of a barrel. And apparently it had 2 flippers on it. It failed to qualify for Series 4. Basically, it's kind of like that, except it has two lawnmower blades on it.
Yep, and it's made out of two beer. It's a beer keg cut in half. I love it.
It looks phenomenal. Yeah. Um, I really don't know.
It's a
But
joke entry. It looks like.
it's definitely a joke entry. There's no doubt about it. I honestly, I don't see how much damage those blades are going to do, particularly to big solid machines like Iron On Concussion. So I don't know, but you know what? I'm sure it'll get a lot of laughs, and then everyone can have a beer after.
John Frizzell, you're buying the first round.
They're definitely creative. I'll say that right now. Terra Turtle, I like the design, but it's never been particularly good.
I've never liked Terra Turtle.
But yeah. Overall, I'd say Ironaw is my pick to win the heat, with Toron as runner-up.
Okay, I'm going with Ironaw as heat winner, with Concussion taking second, and I'm gonna go with the shocker here and say Nuts 2 taking third.
Alrighty. Yeah, it sounds reasonable.
Yeah, just because I want to see Shaky and Rory win something.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get and I talked to Shaky, and he says he's all in. So yeah, we'll have Tim from Concussion and Shaky from Nuts 2 for this heat. And now we move on to Heat E, and we have a few good machines on here. Let's start off with the number 6 seed, Thor.
Thor, my mom's favorite robot.
Yes, Jason. He's definitely dedicated. He definitely wants to win Robot Wars, and it's just a shame his machine just didn't want to work with that cold weather last season. So hopefully he has better luck with the warm weather here. And Thor hopefully doesn't have any major breakdowns like it did. Oh my God! At the last event, I saw it in its last event, and everything went wrong with it. The
axe broke off.
Axe broke off. Speed controllers blew. Battery blew, and apparently Tim Brewster was, or was it Tom Brewster? Tom Brewster was driving, and it's like, damn it, Tom! What are you doing to my machine?
Yeah, Jason, he's a great driver on his own. Like, were his hands hurting? Did he have carpal tunnel or something?
I don't know. You know what? Like I said, but you know what? This is definitely a solid machine. I just question how reliable it's going to be.
If Jason can sort out his reliability issues, he could probably win the heat.
Absolutely. And speaking of, I think we should also move on to his former teammate's machine, Shane Swan's Push to Exit.
Push to Exit. Front hinged flipper.
Yep.
Hey, we know some guys on this team.
Yeah, we know we got Shane Swan, who's known for his forward flippers. We got Mr. Stuart Barnwell, who's been around forever. He drove Pussycat in Series 7 and
made all sorts of videos for roaming robots.
I love those videos. Those are some classics.
Me too.
Even though they were edited in Windows Movie Maker, they've aged well. And Push to Exit, I was very disappointed when it went out last year, because this is a gorgeous machine.
It fell to the mercy of Gary Cairns.
Oh, damn it, Gary. But yeah, I really look forward to seeing it do well. It's got a few modifications. It's now got fins on top of it.
I love the look of this thing. It looks like a Formula 1 car.
Yep, and it's also got like little ropes and chains at the back, obviously to tangle up spinning weapons.
Entanglement weapons are legal in this series.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of skeptical on that because I think it'll just make a mess. But you never know. But we'll see how. I think Stuart Barnwell might be driving again because I know he drove last year. But we'll see how this team does, and I hope they do well. And hey, maybe we'll finally get to see those former teammates face off, Thor and Push to Exit.
Actually, when I say like we know some guys on this team, you're forgetting about the 2 other team members they have.
Oh yeah, our good buddy Vote Saxon. How could we forget him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stephen
Stephen McCullough and his friend Anthony Murney, also known as Two Penny Milk on YouTube.
Yeah, I believe we'll have them in this heat. Yes.
Yes, we
will
will
have them join us. Absolutely, because yeah. Hopefully, I can remember their names because I am terrible with names.
I am too, but I won't forget Steven's name.
I think I'm just gonna call everybody Craig. Craig Danby, Craig Callias, Craig Charles.
It's like how
Craig Jones, Craig Pritchard, Craig Trump,
Craig Ferguson.
Oh yes, but yeah. He also has a very tough opponents in front of him, including former grand finalist Magnetar.
Magnetar, drum spinner.
Basically, it's Pulsar roided up.
This time Ellis Ware Boy Genius came with brushed drives this time.
Yeah, because he was having all kinds of drive issues last year. His drive wheels kept giving out, and he would go around in circles. Now he's boosted it up. He's got a much more solid wedge. He's got a much bigger disc.
A much faster one. Have you heard its death hum?
No, I can
like
only imagine what it sounds like.
It's like a jet plane taking off.
But yeah, Ellis, this I think that this might be my pick to win. Because I don't know how well Thor's going to hold up, and push to exit might make the Heat final, but I don't know.
The Heat E looks very wide open.
Yeah,
it feels like anyone could win it, including our next entry,
Hobgoblin,
Anderson's favorite, Hobgoblin, Bludgeoner.
Yeah. Yes, this is the first ever egg beater on Robot Wars, and
it didn't work.
It didn't work. The speed controllers gave out on it. It was stuck in one spot. Got flipped over by Eruption, and that was it.
It couldn't turn.
It couldn't turn.
It had to be pushed into the arena by Sir Kill-A-Lot, actually.
Yeah, well, you know what? It was the first attempt. I will say, it's a great looking machine, but
I love the colors.
I love the colors. This is a very colorful Heat, I must say. You got some blue, you got some purple and green and red and brown, all kinds of, not quite as colorful as Heat C as last year, but definitely a bit of variety. I don't know how effective Hobgoblin's going to be, because I don't know if they've, I think one of the biggest issues with Hobgoblin is that it can't work inverted.
Yeah, it just does the thing.
It does the thing. It skirts on the drum, goes against the wall. Doesn't really have much control upside down. I don't know. It's got two tough opponents in the first round in Magnetar and Push to Exit. So I do wish them luck, and but we'll see how it makes out. So, what do you think?
Well, first of all I have to say is, holy cow, the Devils have come back and won in OT. That's the first thing I had to say. Yeah, you're getting a live update from yours truly. But I digress.
Hobgoblin.
But yeah, let's talk about Hobgoblin. I honestly think Harry could give us some good defense. Sorry, I'm thinking hockey again. Do over.
This is not hockey.
Yeah, edit that out, please. I honestly think Hobgoblin could get some good hits with that thing, maybe send some opponents flying, because I do want to see a heavyweight beater bot workout, because we've had plenty of bar spinners, we've had plenty of flywheels, but we haven't had a thresher or disc on such a main level, and I want to see Hobgoblin's weapon work. I know Anderson really wants to see it, because Anderson loved Hobgoblin, and he was triggered that it failed so epically in its first appearance.
Well, we'll see how it goes. So, I guess that covers that round. We've covered Thor. Let's move on to the school team, who have made a return with a brand new machine, Expulsion.
Bludgeoner. This thing, you know, the American robot, the American stock robot, the Joker?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like that.
Yeah, I've never been that big a fan of face spinners because the big problem with that is that you don't really have a whole huge range of attack with it. Like you look at Fatal Traction, it had those two bludgeoners on the front and back, couldn't do a damn thing. Invertebrate from series 3 and 4 had the bludgeoner, couldn't do a damn thing. And Expulsion, it's got those big teeth on the ends.
It
I
has
just
it,
don't know.
it actually has more than one blade attachment. It has a fidget spinner as one of its
Oh
weapons.
my god. I have seen the team photo of him with Dara in the worst case scenario has come true. I believe it or not, I think I actually saw someone actually built an ant weight with a fidget spinner.
It
A
better have been a
legit fidget
metal
spinner.
one.
Another big problem I have with Expulsion is that it looks kind of unstable. It kind of looks like Chomp if you got rid of the axe and put the spinner on there.
It
It looks like it might self-destruct.
it does some good breakdancing.
Yeah, well, dancing doesn't get you points.
Hmm.
You may get points in techno games by just doing flips around like the gold medalist did that one time, but
Or like your ricochet.
Ricochet. But yeah, I don't know.
Another wrestling reference in this for those who aren't in the know.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have Anderson return for Heedy or something. Well, we'll see what happens. And finally,
It's
we
also
move
the
on.
lightest robot in this series. It's only 70 kilograms. It's the lightest, no, second lightest robot in the reboot that isn't a cluster bot.
I think it's lighter than Smash, isn't it?
No.
No.
It's lighter than Overdozer.
Oh, that is horrifying. How heavy was their other machine? Because I think it was pretty light as well.
I think it was like 90 kilograms. I gotta check.
Expulsion was 105. In this version, it's 70. So, yeah, so it's a small machine, and I think a lot of the mass is going into the weapon. So
They also
we'll
have
probably
a
get.
mini-bot.
Oh yes,
Detention.
detention. And what the heck is this thing? Basically, it's like a little. It looks like it's made out of two drill motors, and it's got a couple wedgelet things sticking out of the sides. So it's weird. I know they have actually built another little machine called Suspension, and basically it's just a wedge with little teeth on the front to grab onto opponents. So yeah, very interesting weapons
I think those
choices.
are teeth. They look like paper shredders.
Yeah, I think they were originally meant to be drums, but I guess they just couldn't get it on because the live circuit doesn't allow spinners right now. So, but we'll find out. We'll see how they do. I'm sure they'll be the next Chomp. And finally, we'll move on to last year's victim of Apollo and Carbide, and that was Coyote.
Coyote. Crushing jaws.
Yeah, I feel bad for Coyote because they definitely. It was definitely a cool looking robot. It was basically like a combination of all the house robots with the claws of Kill-A-Lot, the little
Jamie
tail fins of Dead Metal, the chainsaw of Matilda. It just got unlucky.
Jamie McCarg said that he designed Coyote as if you were like a 10-year-old designing a robot for Robot Wars.
Well,
And it looks great aesthetically, but creativity can only get you so far.
yeah, it definitely showed. But I will give them this. I do give them props for being able to get it back together after what Carbide did to it.
Mm.
But I don't know. They got Thor and Expulsion in the first round. I have no idea how it's gonna go. But again, luck of the draw.
Yeah.
So yeah, Heat E. Who do you think's gonna win this, and who do you think's gonna get the runner up and third? I say Magnetar gets first. Thor gets second, Push to Exit gets third.
See, I have the same, but in a different order. I say Thor takes the heat, Push to Exit gets second, Magnetar takes third.
All right. So, we'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking forward to this series. There's not as many entrants, but I'm looking forward to how the format goes. I'm looking forward to seeing how all the contestants do.
It's looking like it's going to be a much better series than Series 9, because in hindsight, I'd say Series 9 was relatively weak. Too many one-hit KOs, too many too short battles. This is going to be fun from start to finish.
Yes. I am definitely looking forward to it. So, so I got a big weekend coming up. This Saturday, I'm going to be going to the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for a robot event. I'm going to be bringing Mondo Bizarro, Revy, and Brother Nero will have his first match. And Sunday, I'm going to stop by Nate's. We're going to watch the episode, do our podcast, and we're going to have Jim Chamatic and Anderson join us. So that should be a blast.
Indeed, it will be.
So, yeah, an hour and 48 minutes. We did good. We did good today, Nate.
Yes, we did.
So that about covers it for this edition of the Hardcore Podcast. Stay tuned, I believe, for Monday when we release the.
It's well, we're gonna be recording Sunday because I don't have to.
We're gonna be recording Sunday. I'll probably release it on Monday. So. Yeah, it's gonna be. We got a full weekend coming up. It's gonna be robotastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So until this weekend, this is the Hardcore Kid,
and this is Otaku Nate,
saying peace out.
Cease. I stole your catchphrase.